Hello, this is Tony Heller from RealClimateScience.com, setting the record straight about climate. Climate fake news is coming fast and furious at the end of 2019. In this video, I'm going to discuss the latest fake news about the Arctic. This fake news is being generated by journalists who are sitting in warm, fossil fuel-powered offices thousands of miles away from the Arctic. Weather Channel 2019 Arctic Report Card, near record warmth with near something. Now let's look at actual Arctic temperatures from the Danish Meteorological Institute. This graph shows temperatures north of the 80th parallel in 2016 and 2019. The red line represents every day of the year in 2016, and the blue line represents the same for 2019. As you can see pretty clearly, winter temperatures in the Arctic have cooled about 5 to 10 degrees Celsius over the last 3 years. The green line represents the freezing mark, and the black line represents the mean from 1958 to 2002. As you can see, summer temperatures in the high Arctic were below normal in both 2016 and 2019. In fact, that's been the pattern over the last 20 years. Summer, when air temperatures are above the freezing mark, is the only time when the ice can melt, and temperatures during that time of year have been running consistently below normal. Arctic sea ice extent is very close to the 1981 to 2010 median, shown with the orange line. The only place where there's any significant deficiency of ice is here in the Bering Sea. Temperatures are extremely cold there now, as they are in Siberia and Alaska. And there is a very strong north wind blowing through the Bering Strait. This means that the Bering Sea will fill up with ice very rapidly over the next week. If you do a Google search for Arctic sea ice news, you won't see anything of what I just told you. Instead, you'll see things like Arctic sea ice cover falls to alarming low as temperatures rise. Arctic sea ice may vanish sooner than we thought. Summer sea ice could vanish from the Arctic sooner than we thought. That's according to climate models. Well, that's a pretty interesting claim because in 2008, Norway's leading expert thought the Arctic was going to be ice-free that year. Also in 2008, National Geographic thought the North Pole was going to be ice-free. NASA's Jay Zwally thought the Arctic was going to be ice-free in 2012, and Mark Cerise of the National Snow and Ice Data Center said, "The Arctic is screaming." National Geographic and the Associated Press also thought the Arctic was going to be ice-free in 2012. The U.S. Navy and the BBC thought the Arctic was going to be ice-free in 2013, and Cambridge University's Peter Wadham said, in the end, it will just melt away quite suddenly. Nobel laureate Al Gore and USA Today predicted the Arctic would be ice-free in 2014. NASA's James Hansen predicted the Arctic would be ice-free between 2013 and 2018. And Democrats in Congress called him a climate prophet. The Sierra Club predicted the Arctic would be ice-free in 2013. The Guardian and Cambridge University predicted the Arctic would be ice-free in 2015, and there was going to be a methane catastrophe. Journalist Mark Hartsgaard predicted the Arctic would be ice-free by 2015. After all of his other predictions had failed, Peter Wadhams of Cambridge University predicted 2017 or 2018. Reality is that Arctic sea ice extent is very close to the 1981 to 2010 median, and there's been no trend in Arctic sea ice extent since 2007, when climate scientists started making all of the ridiculous predictions of an imminent ice-free Arctic. So when journalists make claims that Arctic sea ice may vanish sooner than we thought, it's pretty easy to fact-check them and see that what they're saying is complete nonsense. And their use of the word "we" to describe their own dishonesty has become standard practice among journalists. As I already showed you, Alaska is having incredibly cold weather. This is the forecast for later this week. Minus 40 degrees way down in southern Alaska. And the forecast into mid-January looks no better. The entire state covered in bitter cold. None of this is being reported by the press. Instead, they're saying, Alaska set to finish 2019 with record warm year. Alaska was warm earlier in the year, but they're finishing 2019 and starting 2020 with record cold. Nature is not cooperating with the global warming scam, so journalists are becoming increasingly desperate with their disinformation and lies. Visit Toto on the web at realclimatescience.com. He's been pulling back the curtain on junk science and propaganda for a long time.